Hello everyone and welcome to the post-race review for Season 3 of the TheLoggBox F1. Cue music.
It's time for the Liga Cages.
Play ball!
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Hey! And another race is in the books. And as you can see, Rich is ecstatic. So race 3 we've just undertaken. It was in Mexico. And let's get straight into it. So we'll start off with the qualifying results. So your pole position sitter was yours truly, once again. Second was Fuzzy. Fuzzy crept in there towards the end. He was very quiet about that. And
It was. Fuzzy's had a bit of a nightmare up to now, but yeah, he pulled it out the bag.
Yeah, it was a great one. Tumshi was third. Fourth was Man in the Men US. Dave Packer up in fourth. Put in a stunning lap about halfway through. Cruelbrit was fifth.
Yeah.
Sixth was Silent Reaver, Adam, who we have on our show with us today.
Welcome, Adam.
Woo! I was unhappy with sixth, but
we'll go into that. And then seventh was Jacko, and rounding out the players for this week was eighth was Mikey Monsoon 94. So we didn't have two people with us today. Serena, who is off in Las Vegas having a lovely week over there. And
happy birthday, Serena.
Happy birthday. And Brian, my tainted brain, who was also unavailable for this week. So we only had the 8 racers. So that was qualifying. How do we feel that qualifying went? Go on, Adam. We'll start with Adam, because he's our guest. Go on, Adam.
So, having missed last week, I was like, I need to get into it. I did a lot of practice. I had a mess around yesterday, and I was like, right, here we go. I've got this. And I got so consumed focusing on getting on the track that twice I managed to go into the pits and not change my wheels. So I was just throwing time out the window. I had a hot lap where one of the AI beginning with Z just decided that he was going to take a stroll in front of me. Joe was just like, let's just slow it down. Let's be chill, all right? And I nearly got out of my car and throttled him. It was. I put in an okay lap at the beginning, and I just couldn't find the space or time to recover. And I learned.
Do you think it took that anger into the race, Adam?
It's the anger that I have in every race,
or at least into the first corner.
The thing, I'm going to get to that in a minute. The thing this track punishes you for not learning the corners, and there were a couple of corners that I only figured out halfway through the actual race that definitely cost me 10, 15 seconds over the course of the whole track, which not understanding them before going into qualifying meant that I couldn't compete at the top.
Yep, without a doubt, technical track.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why you couldn't compete at the top. We'll go into the other reason in a minute. So I think, Rich, you were massively disadvantaged because that Williams is garbage in a straight line.
It was topping out at 188. I couldn't, without the DRS on, so 192 again. So that was hassle. And to be fair, I think that if we'd had tight restrictions on, I'd be better. So when I was doing the time trials, I was top of the list because most people found. No, I was top of the list in the Williams, wasn't I?
Mm-hmm.
For quite a while.
Yes, you were
on 18. But I think it's because I got that S bend down. Now, once you take the strict cornering off it, I think everyone could just pile through it. So where I thought I was going to get an advantage, I didn't. And that was the only way you could make up for the absolute horse and cart, which is the Williams team. But there you go. 5th was okay.
Yeah, 5th wasn't bad. Okay. I think the probably, to be fair, the star of qualifying was definitely Dave with his 4th.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, absolute
massive improvement.
Yeah.
So that led on to the race. The race was dry, so it was as we were. And yes, the race start was interesting. Adam, let's go straight into your race start, because it influenced pretty much everybody.
Start off, I've got the clutch starts down. I'm very happy with that. Got a good start. I was watching Dave in front of me. I'm like, right, I'm gonna follow the line, keep with people. As the people started to move out, I was like, right, I think I can get him on the inside, so I'll just start to weave out. So I'm about a car and a bit away from the right-hand side of the track. We get about 50, 60 meters from the corner, from the braking line, and Jacko comes in on my right on the absolute limit of the track, almost takes me out, so I'm trying to, like, not get killed and hold it. So as we hit that corner, you've got 5 cars in a row all trying to turn together. So I'm trying to avoid Jacko, and that's what then happens with everybody else, is that everyone then tries to turn. I knew Jacko was coming, so I'm able to get behind him and go past, and everyone's crashed into Jacko. Thought it was me that's killed everyone, and that's why I then got away with you, James, at the beginning of the race. But video evidence, you will see it on the stream. You will see Jacko gunning the absolute end of that corner and killing everyone. And I just had to sit, take it on, take that blame. And I'm not saying that affected the rest of my race, but if it did, there would be some kind of evidence that I got annoyed at the rest of the race. I don't know what that would be.
Yeah, maybe. we won't go into that. So you're painting a picture of an angelic a racer who is a wrong.
I accept that
racer.
I was trying to take the inside. I accept that I was trying to get it. I saw I could get Dave. I'd had the better start, but I lost all sense of, am I going to push it too far? As demon Jacko with no sense of regard. I genuinely thought he was just going to go straight past the corner into the walls. He was doing GTA tactics. Just use other cars to brake. It will be fine. Yeah, that was a terrifying start to the race. I did feel like I was watching what you all see when you're watching me normally on that first corner.
Well, yes. I said the reason I was like, I wanted your opinion was because I was from pole position. I got a decent start. I got away at first, and then Fuzzy in his, I think he was running a slightly quicker setup, and he's in the got a Honda powered car, so he was going up the outside of me into the first corner, and then as I was turning into the first corner, this orange thing just ploughed into the side of my car, which was obviously as Adam. And then as we came around the second corner, I literally was in an AlphaTauri McLaren sandwich. I thought it was going to end in absolute tears, but luckily I got out of that in second, and then coming up to what would be the fourth corner, I think I took Fuzzy up the inside.
Was it Fuzzy?
Yeah, it was. He was first. He was
Fuzzy
first.
Up front to start with.
I took him up the inside. It was a good move, and Fuzzy gave me the room, and then that was it. I was off skis into the distance, although I was helped by the fact that on the second lap, Fuzzy and Adam had a nice coming together, which put me 2.5 seconds out in front.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in that first corner. I capitalised on that first corner, which is fine. So up to third or fourth, I got up to, but I think I slowed everyone down because as I come out that third corner on that long straight, I'm just
slow,
pulling out slowly, and so I think I gave the people in front of me a little bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, I also think because of the assists you run, Rich, I think you're a little bit of a disadvantage to someone who has full traction control on, because coming out of that corner, you're in between second and third gear. So I find when I'm doing it, I actually have to change up myself halfway through that third corner, that right-hander up to third. If I don't, I end up spinning. Whereas people with full traction control can just gun it. It makes no difference.
Yeah, I've got to consider that in this Williams. Adam, what setup do you? Are you on full traction control on the McLaren?
So this is me. I was playing around. This is again getting inside your own head. Traction control. I normally drop down. Normal races drop down to medium. This one I was on full because every time the way that I run it, I push the edges and stuff, and you touch an edge on this one, and your car's gone. I was having a huge amount of work trying to keep the car together. But the problem I gave myself was I put braking assist on high. Because I thought I just needed a little bit of edge in some of these places, not to let go, which I thought was giving me help. But actually, what it was doing is if you go anywhere too far over, it kills your speed. Absolutely ruins your speed. And because I hadn't got the corners down in certain places, and this was the thing I was saying, but I think it was up to about lap 4 or 5. I think because I got ahead of Fuzzy and I was in second, and I kept you to about 2.5 seconds for about 4 or 5 laps. And I thought,
yeah, you got it to just under 2 seconds.
he's ahead, but maybe I can catch him, maybe. And yeah, there was a bit I got it under 2, and I'm like, I can catch a little bit, and then it was a couple of places I got it wrong, and suddenly it was 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 6 seconds. I was like, yeah, it's gone. I'm not going to be able to catch it.
So that full braking assist. So that's that full braking assist. Does that take your speed off for you if you go over the corner?
No, so what it does is that if as you go into the corner, as you guide it and say, okay, I'm braking now, and this kind of thing, it assists you with bringing, like, it sort of hardens your brake a bit more when you need it, and so it made things like hitting the straight, the S bend a little bit easier. But it also thinks if you go too far off track, it's like, oh, you're trying to get back on the track, so it basically just handbrakes. So your speed, if you go like slightly too far off track, it doesn't let you sort of flow through it. It immediately kills your speed, and you can't. It won't give you it back until it thinks like, oh, you're okay now. Which this track was not the place for it, and I considered halfway through the racing switching to medium, but I thought if I hit pause and try and let the AI run it, and I watch 4 cars come past me, that would be not the move. But yeah, no, I normally run medium brake and medium traction, and I think I'll have to go back to that for the next race.
I mean, there was a lot of chaos going on all through the race. It was a good race. I mean, I'm going to have to watch it back to understand. But Mikey and let's talk about the Red Bulls. They had a shocker.
Yeah, they did. They did. They had a shocking qualifying,
a family affair,
and then they just couldn't keep their hands off each other throughout the whole race. all we heard was Mikey going, Jacko, and Jacko going, Mikey. It's mad.
Oh, you can't do that. Oh, what you've done.
It's going to be big-headed, but I'm going to play the pantomime villain as always. When you're out in front, you don't see any of that. So you're waiting for, you just hear noise, and it's
your radio.
It's all you hear. Yeah.
Light entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just entertainment as you're going around the track.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Every now and then get a little pop-up saying fastest lap.
It is. Now, did Tom Shee ever challenge you on that?
No.
James?
No, that was as soon as I got to the front, because Tom Shee got pushed back. I think in that first corner incident, Tom Shee got pushed back a little bit, and then he and Adam had a duel for a few laps. But I was just eking out. It got to the point where I was eking out 3 or 4 tenths for half a second here and there, and by the time Tom Shee got past Adam, I was 7.5 seconds up the road, and I was just nursing my hard tyres.
We had about 6 laps, I think it was in the middle of the race, when me and Tumshi basically stayed 20, 30 meters away from each other the entire track for 6 laps in a row.
Yeah, and I was just...
And then there was a bit... you were gone. Oh, did he nearly catch you? I know this is later on in the race, but there was a bit after you hit the late pit stop.
Yeah, so...
He got a little close.
I was... He didn't have a 3-second time penalty at that point. Yes, I mean, I came out of the pits... we'll go on to penalties in a minute. I came out of the pits he came out of the pits 37 seconds behind me, so I was just watching his, because I think the pit stop in there is about 21, 22 seconds, and I was just watching the time slowly come down, and then when my tyres got to about 72%, he took out about 3 seconds out of me on 2 laps, and it went down to about 24 seconds, and I was like, right, I had to pit, because I was trying to eke it out for as long as possible to get the soft tyres on to basically get another fastest lap. And that's what I did because I knew the soft tyres were used, so I at least I knew I had 2 laps less than normal. So I think with 6 or 7 laps to go, I pitted, put softs on.
And those hards were still possible to drive on at 75%?
Yeah, so I crossed when I crossed the line, when I last checked the tyres, which was about 2/3 of the way around the lap before I pitted. The left rear was on 73%, and it was a risk because at 75%, at some point you can sometimes just get a puncture. From 75 onwards, the puncture chances go through the roof. So I was very, very slow on my in lap. I think I think Tumshi took another couple of seconds at least out of me in that one. But yeah, it was very tricky. But I'm much more. I go with medium traction control because, as you know, Rich, when we do our racing together, all I do is spin 5 times a race, and I was bored of doing that. So
yeah, I wish you'd turn that off. I'm gonna have to have a rethink on that one because the only reason why I got up to the place I did is because Mikey and Jacko had a fight. I mean, when people are fighting for places, even they're racing fast, you can take a second off them as soon as they're clear. So that was it. And then the second battle, which almost got me another couple of places up, was watching Adam and Fuzzy battle. And Adam, there was no reason for you battling, but you had managed. I was 5 or 6 seconds behind. I'd managed to get that time down to 1.5 seconds. But why were you racing him hard with 12 seconds?
Well, let's
to go?
Well, let's let's park that for a second. And what we'll do is I'll run through the results of the race, and I think the last thing we'll go into is why Adam finishes where he finished. So, so first I was first and got fastest lap, so that was 26 points. Tumshi was second, and he got 18 points. Third was Fuzzy, and he ended up then with 15 points. Fourth was Rich. We'll go into it was very close between him and Fuzzy in the end. So Rich was fourth with 12 points. Fifth was Mikey with 10 points. Sixth was, I believe, Jacko. I think was sixth. Yeah, Jacko was sixth with 8 points. Seventh was Adam. He got 6 points. And then eighth was Dave with 4 points. So, Adam, where did you actually cross the line? What position were you when you crossed the line?
Actually crossed the line fourth, about half a second ahead of Rich, if I'm correctly.
And
so it was a bit of a drop there.
Why did you drop so many places?
Because this track is a tease, and the corners look so beautiful, and I push it at the best of times, but this track is cruel because if you push it, it makes you think you can push it a lot, and then you push it just a little too far, and you get a penalty. And because I was still learning the corners, I just kept pushing it too far in certain places, and 3-second penalty became a 6-second penalty, and then I thought I could serve that when I pitted, but because it was a speed penalty, not a collision penalty, it wouldn't let me. So I carried on with 6-second penalty, and then because I had a 6-second penalty, I was like, I have to get clear ahead of people to try and push this, or I'm just going to lose. And then it went to 9 seconds. At the I think it was a 9-second mark though, where I thought a little glimmer of hope appeared, which was as I was perfectly reasonably, ignore everything that Stu says, perfectly reasonably taking a corner, trying, I'd had the inside line. I was just trying to take it on the inside line. Fuzzy came careering into me following the racing line, and wiped me out and tried to T-bone me, and he got a 3-second penalty, which I think was completely justified. While I just carried on, beautifully ahead of him, and I thought at that point that there might be a chance of pulling back up to a 6-second, and then I got another 3-second penalty, and it became a 12-second penalty. And at that point, I knew I couldn't even see the people I was competing with because they were so far down the board. And the problem was, as well, at that point, because I couldn't serve the time, I'd already pitted once and trying to switch to soft, so I wasn't going to gain any time. So all I could do at that point was just
Harangue
push
Fuzzy
for the highest time that I could.
Yeah.
And annoy Fuzzy. And
Well,
the annoying Fuzzy was just that.
Let me make some commentary. Let me quote what Stu actually said before you came on. He said, "What Adam did was nothing short of outrageous," and that is continuously. His behaviour was outrageous. So there is going to be a steward's inquiry. I think there's going to be. Well, I think it'll be a bit of a kangaroo court. Nothing will happen, but we're going to have to watch those back because 12 seconds. I mean, on the road, that's a driving ban, Adam. That's a driving ban.
And don't
I don't
forget,
think I've ever seen someone to get 12 penalties.
And the first 2 times you do it, you get warnings.
Yeah.
You don't get any penalties, so you get 2 freebies.
2 freebies and then a warning, but that carries on up. So that tells you that every time it was warning, warning, penalty, warning, warning, penalty. So that tells you how many times I had to mess up to allow it to happen. I pushed it too hard. The corners were too much, and I lost the sense. There were too many corners where the thing is that when I've committed to the whatever line it is I'm doing, my brain doesn't go, maybe don't do that. Maybe just sweep out. Accept a little slow, an extra half second. It's fine. My brain goes, go! And I've already gone through it. I've sliced through the corner and it's going, yeah. And the big one that did it, I think there were 2 corners that did it. One was the very last corner, that last bend, is just trying to cut that too far and end up just driving straight through it. Definitely was worth 2 of those penalties. And I know that the bend, about the 3rd or 4th corner, the big left and then the right hand turn, I definitely cut. I'd be the first corner or the second corner on that a few times, and that also cost me. So don't push it too hard, and you do not gain back because those. I didn't gain enough from those penalties that I took to justify and basically any of those penalties. And had I not done them, even if it had been an extra second on top of the time, I would have ended up 5th, not 7th, and that's a whole bunch of points thrown away.
It is indeed.
Do you think that would that have been your placement if you'd been 9 seconds instead of 12? If you'd been, where would you have finished up the grid in 5th? Maybe. If I'd got 1 less penalty, I think I would have beaten Mikey, so I would have gotten 6th. I'm thinking more that if I hadn't got any of those penalties, it would have been because you were a half second behind me. I probably would have dropped those 12-second the cuts gave me about a second in the end, probably maybe 2, not enough to justify 12 penalties, and that's why I do it. But that's live and learn. Remember for next time. Well, you kept Fuzzy interested for the last 4 or 5 laps. I mean, I had to stay with it. Fuzzy had a penalty, an unfair penalty, one basically adopted by you that you'd caused.
Justified penalty.
So my race was about staying 3 seconds behind him, and I did for up to the 35th lap. But I had to push it, and to be honest, I ended up corner cutting in the end just to keep that. But just on the last lap, as I thought it came round the S bend, and my God, if you come up to a back mark around those S bends, you have no idea what they're doing. They go back on and come back off it. So Fuzzy got past Hamilton, he moved out the way, and he moved back in front of me.
He slaughtered you, Hamilton did. Won that duel.
Yeah, I just spun out because I was trying to push it. But then I got it back by blatantly cheating and corner cutting. Got my 2 warnings and got it back to 3 seconds and 3/10 as we passed the line to miss out on the podium. But congratulations to Fuzzy because he'd had a nightmare as well. I think both me and him had come back from 7th or 8th.
Yeah.
I think Fuzzy felt crossing the line there. I think Fuzzy felt a lot. I think if Fuzzy fallen behind you at the end of it, my name would have been Mud. Having cost him that.
I think he's ignored you. Yeah. So Jacko and Mikey had a bit of a nightmare, but they pulled back the pack, so that was all. And Dave, after a brilliant qualifying, and he was up there for the first 10 laps.
He was 3rd at one point.
And he just on that final corner, and that he can do it. It's just a very typical. I could see what he did. He turned in too hard and put the acceleration down. And that last corner is you just have to glide out of that last corner, no matter what. But
And
I
it's
saw Dave
a
do that.
brutally long race.
And I just heard him go. I just heard him go. And then silent.
Indignation. Yeah.
Indignation. So okay. So that is. Shall we go to where we're going in the next? Oh, should we talk about where that puts the points up? So let me just see if the our race adjudicator Stu Whitehouse.
Oh, it's all updated.
Has updated it. He has done. Brilliant. All right. Okay. So let me go through that. So James steps 10 points ahead in first with 71 points, with two first places and a third. I think that was
second.
71 and a second. So there you go.
But
so
3 fastest laps out of 3.
And 3 fastest laps. Tumshi is now lagging behind with his 18, 25 and 18. Again, a second and a 25. Oh, yeah. So second, first and second. So that battle's going well. Jacko stays ahead of me despite a bad race. So he stays a point ahead. So I do catch up on Jacko. So if that's my target, that's not too bad. So I'm a fourth on 34 points with some lackluster fourth places. Fuzzy has made a big jump up the table. It now sits at 27 points, 4, 8 and 15 points. That leaves Mikey with 25 points, with a DNS in there. That's fine. Dave's still scoring well, 6, 10 and 4, puts him on 20 points and 7th place. Adam with a DNS. Feels like you should be higher up than this, but you're 8th with 14 points. So with an 8 and a 6 there. But I think you've lost a good few points with that. Brian is still on 8, and Serena did not start today, so they don't change their places at 9th and 10th. So the battle on first and second, the Tumshi's responsibility to try and pull you back a little bit there, and my responsibility to try and beat Jacko, as I say, if I can get to third place. But Fuzzy has certainly found some form there, so I've got to watch out for him. So I've only got a 7-point gap there. And I'm sure if Mikey can stay consistently racing, he'll be there as well. So the league's looking good.
Yes, the DNS doing me there.
Yep, so consistency.
Yep. Definitely need to calm it down.
So it's a break next week. So we go off on a break, go and do some holidaying and some chilling out, and we're back in 2 weeks. So where are we, James, in 2 weeks?
We are at Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, which is a very similar track in to Mexico in the fact that some very quick straights and a lot of twisty-turny, quick sections.
Jeddah is the new track, isn't it? The one that was brought into the season about 3 years ago, and it's one that can just really screw with your mind because it's almost impossible to tell where you are.
Yeah.
In it, because each corner basically looks the same. They snake left and right, down a straight, and then there's a humongous straight.
Yes, there is.
So I'm going to have to get the engineers on this, Williams.
Yeah, you need a bit of speed. But yeah,
God.
I gotta envision it as my redemption arc. If it's with the similarities to Mexico, this is the one to come back and not throw it away with overcommitting to corners and stuff.
Yep.
Fix that, the assists, and see where I can end up.
There's no reason why a podium is not within reach, Adam, and that would put you in the mix.
I gotta believe.
Gotta
believe, especially with the chaos behind with all of us. Just let Jacko and Mikey take each other out, and it will be.
Yeah, to be fair, Adam, you've got the speed. I mean, like you said, for the first few laps, you were, we were there or thereabouts 2 seconds. You 2.5 seconds back, you were trimming bits off, lap by lap, 10th here, a couple of tenths there. So you got the speed. It's just all about that practice and consistency.
Yeah. Don't play F1 like you play Rocket League.
Oh God, it's definitely that. It's definitely that's what's doing it. Yeah, I've just gotta not overcommit to the corners. Try and keep a cool head, and we'll see you in Jeddah.
We will.
Okay, let's wrap it up. Let's see you in Jeddah. See you on the grid.
Yep.
in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks' time.
Thank
Thanks
you.
all.
Bye.
Bye.
Play ball.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.